Okay, it's Saturday, Collins Day. What we're doing is building a 496-inch big block. And so that means we got 60 over on the bore. And it's also a quarter-inch extra stroke. So it's a 4 1/4 inch stroke. So that makes 496 cubic inches. Here's your problem. To get that, and this is an original iron Mark IV block, you have to clearance your rods in that block because they don't swing. So what we'll do is just go ahead today and not work on a chainsaw, and we're going to work on Colin's drag motor. We've done these motors for a very, very long time. This is kind of you guys are normal watchers all the time, which are greatly appreciated. Never see this kind of stuff. Chainsaws are just 5% of our life. Colin's going drag racing, and this is where we start. So sit down, grab a cup of coffee or a cold one, and just enjoy. Okay, what we've got is we're actually using mainly rods. These are long rods, and a JE piston with a significant dome. But for right now, all we're doing is just mocking this together so we can check the throw on the crank just to see how much we got to take out of the block. So I'll put this together and we'll be right back. Here is, in this particular case, we got lucky. The end of that rod right here, that bolt has got to clear that block. And see that? It clears quite nicely. Now what we're going to have to do is make sure all of them do that. I did not have to clearance that. I'm really surprised. This is kind of a first for me. So we'll continue on. Okay, we've got an indicator on. And I just want to know how much from the top of my piston to my deck, because that becomes important when we're setting the heads up to make sure that we have enough room for our valves, which I know we do by doing the math the other way. But I just wanted to show you what we're dealing with. Now, this motor, we're building that to run a significant amount of nitrous. So the type of piston we use, they're smaller where the rings are than they are on the skirts by little ways. But now what we're going to do, now this is how to do it with a dome piston. With a flat top, it's a lot easier, and I'll show you that in a minute, why that it's easier. With a dome, people get confused on this, and a few thousand sometimes, might make a difference, but in a big block, if you're working with a few thousandths and that's it, you're probably going to have a problem. But we can zero this. Okay, you hold down on one side right here. See, look at this. Look how much that's measurable, isn't it? So we could actually look at that and see that's 8 thousandths of rock, okay? Now that has to be accounted for somewhere, all right? But if all you're trying to do is see what your distance from the top of your piston to your deck is, go ahead and zero the thing out, rotate your motor, boy, till it's at its highest point while you're holding down on the piston. Right there. Now, if you want, you can just, on your indicator, zero that. That's pretty good, okay? Until you move it. Yeah, just chase it around. That's all we need to do in it. It's so close there. Okay, there. But we got it. 4 above. Okay. So, anyways, we know right there is top dead center. But don't fall in that trap of thinking, well, gee, is that top dead center? Ain't it? Hold it one place or another. You either hold it on the top, hold it on the bottom, verify where your piston is. Okay, I'm going to show you here while he's doing that. We have a piston stop here. The way these are generally work is with a flat top, you would go hole to hole. This is for locating your top dead center to put your degree wheel on. You would adjust that down until it touched the piston, bump it one way and the other, and then what that allows you to do is divide that in half, and that's 0 for your degree wheel. Well, in this case, what we're actually going to do is we're going to use this as a bar, measure right here with a feeler gauge. We're going to measure underneath that with a feeler gauge. Okay? While this is down, get that measurement, divide that in half because it's piston rock, right? And that tells us what we are to our deck. We're using Engine Works rings. Now, the top ring is plasma moly, then you got iron, then your common oil rings. Because running nitrous applications, which we're not going to start out with that for a while, these are rings designed to be gapped. Okay, so what we're going to do is, I'll show you. Now, you'll see all kinds of stuff on the internet. Use a piston, flip it upside down, get it down approximately an inch in the bore. Check your gap with a feeler gauge. Well, guess what? With a dome piston, you're not doing that. So you use your skirt. Okay? Side to side, right here to here. This is how I do it. I'm sure there's many variations. And it's the same thing. See, your skirt's fairly tight in the bore. You know what I mean? So you just get that down in the bore good, where you feel that kind of lock up, and then you can measure that gap right there. In this motor, we're going to run, I'm going to say 25 thousandths clearance on the top ring, 26 on the second. And these stroker motors are notorious, these 496s, for blow-by. They'll push air. So you have to have room. If whatever's coming through this ring, you got to have even 27 thousandths on the second, and then 29 on the top oil ring. You're going to let that air go back through those holes on the pistons. Okay, so you just step it in 2,000. So 25 on the top ring, 27 on the second, and 29 on the top oil ring. Bottom oil ring, just your common gap is fine. And that'll help clear that air out. You're not going to trap. If you trap air between rings, what happens is you're going to get ring flutter. Same thing works in chainsaws, okay? I'm just letting you know that. And it wears them ring lands out. These heads that's on this motor over here and intake and stuff, that's all going on this motor. And that's the heads we're going to build. Now, because this motor's going to take a little bit of pressure and roller cam and everything, so we've got mainly severe duty valves. Okay, now what we've got here is mainly severe duty valves. We could have got a little lighter valve. These big blocks, we're going to have 750 pounds of pressure on the springs, 275 at 2 inches on the stalled height. Now, this is a 2 and 300 intake valve and a 1.88 exhaust valve. And if you notice, they're swirl polished. I mean, that helps with flow. No back cut. I will make a back cut, I'm fairly sure of that. But something that's kind of interesting is how the big block, you know, small block Chevys kind of line up like this. Everybody knows that. The big block are like that. And you can look at the angle of the valves, okay? So, we've already verified what this distance is. So by knowing what the deck height and where the valve is located in the head, plus the head gasket after it's torqued, we'll know how much clearance we have. But I tell you what, don't always trust that. you can use modeling clay. Dummy it up. When your heads are built, a little clay, and roll that around and see where them valves come. I know we got enough clearance, but even though I know, we're going to have to verify all this. So this is all stuff we'll do in the future videos, but they're a good quality off-the-shelf valve. They're going to work just fine. We're just under 700 lift. We're not trying to put huge pressure on this motor, but we're going to make significant horsepower, and this is something you'll see. Okay, this is all we got time for today for this video. Maybe on the weekends we'll do a video once in a while when we're building this motor and other stuff. But Monday it's going to be right back to the same old grind. Chainsaws as usual. Thank you. Goodbye.